Notes from a Roman senator. Yesterday I was a horse. My responsibilities included oats, grass, water, avoiding holes in the ground, finding a fine pile of straw for my bowel movements. Today servants are measuring my stall and being quiet. Apparently, Rome requires concentration from its magistrates. I suspect something is amiss. Act 1. Foundation. The first change is small. It arrives the way Roman changes often arrive, as improvements. A new attendant appears, then another, then a third whose only task is to stand still and look like he understands the situation. A marble threshold is installed. The stall is given a name. A purple cloth arrives, and nobody calls it a blanket. They call it a sign. A manger of carved ivory appears, which makes eating oats feel like participating in someone else's ceremony. The servants speak differently now. They whisper. They stop finishing sentences. No one contradicts the emperor. I did not know, at first, that his mood can outrank the Senate. I learned it the way my kind learn most things, by watching who flinches. I began hearing my own name, spoken in places it didn't belong. Not in the stable, in corridors, in clipped conversations that ended when they noticed me listening. One man said my owner had planned to give me a function. Another man said it was only something people say. A third spoke as if it had already been decided, and the only remaining question was whether anyone dared to treat it as a joke. They used words like appointment, honor, favor. They behaved as if language itself could soften the act. Either way, preparation began. Not because I needed preparation, but because humans need rehearsal for obedience. If I can be trained for office, perhaps the office requires less training than expected. Act 2. Escalation. At first, the Senate appears at a distance. Then it starts arriving in person. Men in clean robes walk toward the stall and stop at an unnatural line, the way people stop at the edge of water they do not trust. They speak softly to my attendants, not to me, as if I am a dangerous document rather than an animal. They ask questions that have nothing to do with horses. Is he calm? Does he eat? Is he agreeable? One man brings treats, another brings silence, another brings a face that looks like prayer without the religion. I notice guards now, not to protect me from thieves, to protect everyone else from saying the wrong thing near me. Then the servants begin checking my food before it reaches the manger. This is when I learn something Roman that has nothing to do with horses and everything to do with power. In the houses of important men, death is often administered as a household task. Poison is treated as a practical possibility, like fire or rot, and the stories attach names to it the way Romans attach names to roads. Livia, they say, knew how to make succession happen. A bad day, a wrong heir, a cup that tastes slightly off, and history turns into inheritance. I do not know if those stories are true. I know what they produce. Everyone behaves as if they are. And that means survival depends less on competence than proximity. In the stable, competence is obvious. If you do not bring water, the horse dies. If you do not clean straw, the stable stinks. The work is measurable. Outside the stable, competence becomes a rumor. Proximity becomes proof. The men closest to the emperor speak the least, and the men farthest away speak as if every sentence could be used against them. In Rome, A small vocabulary keeps people breathing. The city has reorganized itself around one man. Act 3. Institutionalization. Now the word arrives. Consul. I do not understand it, but I recognize its effect. People bow more carefully. People laugh less naturally. People watch their own mouths as if speech has become a punishable substance. The stable receives new visitors. Their hands smell of ink and worry. They do not look at my hooves. They look at the stall as if it is a chamber. This is what I can tell, even as an animal. The Senate is not a body that rules. It is a body that survives. Under Caligula, survival appears to mean agreement, or at least the performance of agreement. The old men arrive. They listen, they approve, they retreat. They do not debate as if debate has weight. They debate as if debate is a risk. So the choice is not me versus Senate. The choice is Senate versus Emperor, with me used as a measuring instrument. The appointment tests whether the Senate has any remaining friction left in it. Verdict. Let the record be clear. This is not a story about a mad emperor and a joke horse. If it were, it would end in laughter, and laughter is not what I see in the men who come to my stall. Rome arrived here by habit. I have watched how decisions behave in this city. The Senate retains titles, procedure, and the appearance of deliberation, but power does not live there the way the robes suggest. Power lives in the ability to make a room go quiet. Men learn quickly what refusal costs, and that disagreement is answered with consequences, not argument. Once that lesson is stable, you do not need to abolish the Senate. A cautious Senate becomes a compliant Senate. And a compliant Senate can process anything as long as the ritual remains intact, the right words spoken, the right nods performed, the right signatures applied. That is how the boundary between the real and the performative dissolves without announcing itself. When a system cannot say no, it only needs obedience, and obedience can host anything, including me. The empire does not collapse into chaos. It collapses into compliance. Epilogue. I am told I will soon be retired. This is acceptable. Grass was predictable, and politics is not. Today I intend to visit the small shop on the main street. It is known for its sausages. Having got to know Rome's appetites, this information is unsettling.